You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Good morning, everyone. As part of our series today, we're diving into 3 more chapters from the book, Elevate Your Excellence, The Power of Doing Ordinary Things Extraordinarily Well. We're joined now by the author, Dave Anderson. Dave's also a speaker, host of the wildly popular The Game Changer Life, I should say podcast, and he's also president of LearnToLead. So Dave, thank you so much for joining us once again on the show to continue our series. We've got 3 more chapters that we want to cover with you, and I have got the book right here. For those of you, you heard me say this before on the news here, but this is a book that's going to help everybody in our audience. I think I know everybody in our audience, but really and truly, if you get up in the morning and you want to attack the day, this is the book that you're looking for. It can be a life changer. So congratulations to you, Dave, on writing another great book. I'm sure it's going to be a bestseller. It just hit right now. Again, just to remind you all, right below this video that you're watching is a link so that you can get your own copy. I've got mine right here. Nobody's getting it from me. But we want to start today by covering a couple of the chapters. And this one I love, which is Start Early, Stacking the Wins. So talk to us about that.
It's all about creating your own momentum, Jim, before you get to work. I think great performance begins before it begins. And I think it's really hard if you wake up in the morning and you're flying by the seat of your pants and you're cutting corners and you're doing less than your best and you feel a wreck and you walk into the workplace, you're probably just not going to be able to just flip a switch and all of a sudden have momentum and excellence show up. It's going to take you an hour or two to really find your rhythm. So I like to talk about win the first hour of the morning. And if you win the first hour, you can probably win the morning.
Right.
And if you win the morning, you can probably win the day. And it just starts with simple things like making your bed in the morning. That's a win. And people
right.
say, what's the big idea about making the bed? Well, it's not the made bed. It's the person you become in the process of making it. So I'm starting the day doing my best. Mm-hmm. It takes me 5 minutes and I'll feel good about it, feel good about my ability to be disciplined and follow a process. And then looking for another win, like hydrating early in the morning. I have a whole chapter in the book on this, but it's huge to performance. And people don't understand what happens if you're dehydrated. But just hydrating yourself, that's a win. Yeah. And just going through your grooming, rather than just do the bare minimum, maybe just do a little something extra that is a win, that makes you feel good about yourself. Put something on your skin that makes it look healthy, or take care of that nose hair that's turning into a bungee cord, or whatever you got to do. But just do something small, but it's another win. And how about your mindset? Yeah. We leave our mindset up for grabs. There's a chapter in the book about 10 minutes, spending 10 minutes, maybe reviewing your goals for the day. Yeah. I start with a gratitude journal. I've filled out a gratitude journal now for the last 25 years, roughly. Yeah. And I'll just write down the key things that went right the day before. Right. Even if yesterday was tough, I'm shifting my focus. I have something to rally on. It's positive. So that's a win. And then eating something nutritious. I mean, some of us, we think we're these high performance machines like a Ferrari, and then we fill the tank with mud every morning and we wonder why we can't go. And right. Just these little wins. When I walk in to the workplace, I want 8 or 9 wins stacked. Momentum, if you look up the definition, it's a driving force. I want to be a driving force gained by development of a process or course of events. Mm-hmm. That puts it in your control. Momentum is earned. Yep. You can be that driving force by following processes in a certain course of events, routines and rituals that you set up for yourself. To where when I walk into my office, I'm already going. I don't need to get going. I've got 8 or 9 wins rather than having stacked 8 or 9 losses. So I give a lot of ideas in the book, like commute time. How many people totally just throw away their commute time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, listening to garbage, when they could be listening to something educational, inspirational, motivational? That's another win. Yeah. So look for these little things that you can do that are your best. You're not cutting a corner. You're not compromising. You're not leaving dishes in the sink. And these little things to where now you walk into the workplace, I'm going, man. I feel good about myself, and I'm the boxer. I'm not the bag. Yeah. That's what that chapter is really about. It does, great performance does begin before it begins.
No question about it. I could not agree more. I love that. So let's talk about this. Nothing is neutral.
It took me a while to figure this out in my life. I'm 63 now, and I didn't really figure this out until my 40s. So I hope a lot of people are a lot smarter than I was and can
Right.
catch on quicker than I did. This is about having a high regard for your time, a high regard for your time,
Yeah.
because it's the one thing we have you really can't get more of. You've heard me joke before about, if you're going to steal from me, steal my money and leave my time alone, right? I can
Yep.
get more money.
That's
I
right.
can't get more time.
That's right.
And when you start to look at the activities you engage in and the people you associate with through the lens that nothing is neutral, if even in a small way, this is going to move me closer to my goals or make it harder to get there,
Yeah.
then you become a lot more discerning about where you spend your time and with whom you spend it. I think we fritter a lot of time away, and now we have to spend more time trying to get done what we could have gotten done if we realize that this is not helping me. It may be trivial, it may be fun, it may be amusing, but it's not moving me forward. And I give an example. When I was flying early on in my career, I've been doing this 25 years. I added it up one time, Jim. I spent 40 hours 1 month in the air, just going from
Wow.
place to place. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
And I had no plan for that time.
Yeah.
I would get in and I'd think, well, this is neutral time.
Yeah.
And I'd watch a movie, some Hollywood garbage, or I'd talk to somebody next to me that complained the whole flight. I turned into Dr. Phil for 4 hours. And it's like, but I would rationalize. I would think, well, that time, it's really not, it doesn't hurt me to
Right.
do that.
Right.
So it's kind of neutral, right?
Yeah.
Like people say, I watch 4 hour of Netflix a night. It's not really hurting me, but if it's time where you could be helping yourself
Yeah.
and you're not, then it is hurting you.
That's right. That's
It's
exactly
not
right.
neutral.
Yeah.
And then how about people? I mean, we don't want to be judgmental. We only want to judge ourselves, but we do need to be discerning.
Yeah.
And to discern means to recognize. They don't have a neutral impact on your life either, man. Some people are the weights beneath your wings. You know it.
Yes.
And it's like, have you ever noticed that people with nothing to do want to do it with you? It's like they want to do it with you. And they
So true.
Your wife tells you on Thursday, so-and-so's coming over on Sunday, and you're already pre-annoyed, and it's just Thursday, because
Right.
they're going to be a drain. And it's
Right.
like, I call these people 3 bourbon and a gummy guests, right? It takes 3 bourbons and a gummy to get through an afternoon with them. I don't mean that literally, but you get the point.
We all know exactly what you mean. Yep, we all have them.
It's not about them being a bad person. It's about them being a bad fit
Right.
for you, trying to get to where you want to go. And so I wish I'd have figured this out earlier, that if this isn't helping me in some way, it's probably hurting me, because it could be helping me.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I have a good time. I believe in amusement and fun, but in moderation. I want growth and impact in excess.
Yeah.
I don't need entertainment in excess. I want growth and impact in excess. In order to do that, got to be more careful where I spent my time. So really, the chapter's about making you more aware where you're spending your time, who you're spending it with. Isn't it moving you closer or making it harder to get there, because you don't get more of it?
No, it's so true. It's so true. And to your point, you kind of nailed it all. And whether you're on a flight, it sounds like you were a full week. When you're talking about 40 hours, right? What can you get done? That's an entire week, of work week in the air. And as you know, you'd love to have that in the office to say, and I always need more time. And everyone always says that. I didn't get to the things on my list because I didn't have enough time today. But you'll notice that you stood at the coffee counter talking to some other people for 25 minutes, and you still didn't get to the things on your list. So it is a question of being that gatekeeper to your own schedule to say, these are the things that are important to me. And yeah, sure, it's fun to gossip and talk to others and get in on whatever's happening in the office, but it's not productive. And we all fall into that, don't we?
We do. And I think awareness is the key. Our biggest vulnerability is the one we're not aware of.
That's right.
The one we don't see coming, the one we don't realize, that's just nickel and diming us. But for young people who are watching this, if you can grasp this concept early on,
right.
don't wait as long as I did,
right.
Because you think you have forever if you're young. You think you got all the time in the world, and what you could do with your time if you get a handle on it earlier in life it would astonish you.
Yeah, there's no question about it. The old adage, show me the 4 friends that you hang around with, and I'll show you who you're going to become. And it's pretty much the same way with time. Show me how you spend your time, and I'll show you, how you're going to end up, right? Because it's really turning that neutral time that you talk about. And I totally agree with you. I've got 20-year-olds in my family, and this is a message that I'm going to play for them because it's so vitally important. There's always somebody that wants to go out and get a beer, or hang out, off of a sports bar for a couple of hours, and nothing is usually gained by something like that. And you're right. These young people really do need to hear messages like this. So talk to me about this last one, which is drink up.
Well, that could apply to a lot of things, because
sure.
what I'm mainly talking about here is hydration. I actually have a short chapter in the book. I think it's important enough to put it in the book, and people aren't expecting it necessarily in a quote business book. But again, Elevate Your Excellence really isn't a business book. It's a get your life right book. That's so right. You can get your business right book. But you've been told for as long as you can remember, if you're like I am, you got to stay hydrated. But I think what we don't realize, and when I started working with athletes, I really investigated this, and it blew me away, is what happens when you're not hydrated. First of all, statistically, 71% of us walk around dehydrated. So it's very, very common. And 100% of us wake up dehydrated because for hours, you got moisture going out of your body through breath and nothing coming in.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's an easy win. Yeah. It's an easy win. But here's to drink that bottle of water. Drink your coffee in the morning, but drink the water first.
Yeah.
Because here's what happens when you're dehydrated. This is why it really affects performance. It thickens your blood. When you're dehydrated, your blood gets thicker. So now your organs are having to work harder just to perform normal functions. That's where all your energy goes. That's why dehydrated people are just lethargic and they don't have energy. And they say, oh, I'm just not a morning person. Well, maybe, but maybe you're dehydrated too.
Yeah.
So it thickens your blood. It zaps your energy. It also affects your memory. It makes you irritable. It can constipate you. It gives you bad breath. I mean, none of this stuff is really helping performance. And so,
those are reasons there alone to make sure you drink, right?
You just stack a lot of losses right there. And so it's being aware, and there's not a magic number to drink. People say, well, how much should I drink? Depends on your activity, your size, but you need to talk to a doctor because most people don't drink enough. They drink energy drinks, and the best energy drink is just a really, really good water. Just really good pure water is the best energy drink. Right. Some of the energy drinks actually dehydrate you. They have stuff in there that dehydrates you. It gives you a surge, and then it actually hurts you. And then being aware when you're traveling, air travel is devastating to hydration. Because 70% of the air you're breathing is from the outside. High altitude, very dry. It dries you out. So if you're drinking alcohol on a flight, which I do, but I'm also drinking water. Right? You have to drink more water to offset that dehydration. And you think when you get to where you're going, you're jet lagged. It's probably dehydration. That 1 hour time change did not give you jet lag, nor did the 2 hours. It's dehydration because the symptoms are the same. So this is an easy win. And then it's being aware of it throughout the day. When you're feeling a little sluggish, drink some of that water. When you're drinking caffeine, drink more water. It all matters. That's one of the concepts of the book. It all matters. Everything we do is helping our performance move forward, or it's holding it back in some way. I will say this, though. You can drink too much. You can drink too much water. I found this out. This is why you need to talk to a doctor. He said, your kidney numbers are way down, because I went overboard. I was drinking like 2 gallons a day. He said, how much are you drinking? I said, 2 gallons a day. He said, you're not an NBA player.
Right.
He said, you don't need to be drinking 2 gallons a day. He said, you're flushing the sodium out of your kidneys. He said, so we got to dial it back. Yeah. He said, you're going to get dizzy and fall down. I said, well, I'm old. I don't even need to be doing that. So I don't need to be falling at this age. So you do need to moderate it a little bit, and because you can go overboard, like anything. Too much of anything, I guess, is not a good thing after all. But you're probably far more likely to not be drinking enough than to be drinking too much. It's an easy win. You can't ignore it. It affects how you think, how you remember, your energy, and that all affects performance.
And no question about it. And nobody better to talk to us about performance than Dave Anderson, author, speaker, and president of LearnToLead, and of course, the author of this incredible book that I've talked about earlier, Elevate Your Excellence, the Power of Doing Ordinary Things Extraordinarily Well. You're just a click away, folks, from getting your copy and changing your life. These are just some of the things that are in the book that we talked about today. Start early, stacking the wins. nothing is neutral, and drink up. You got to be hydrated. So thank you again, Dave, for joining us on the show to complete this series, or I should say to further the series along. We're going to be showing each one of these each week, so stay tuned to us here at the show. And again, we very much appreciate it. Love the book.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate you.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.